welcome to this space, a space where we amplify voices, we challenge narratives, and we tell stories that not often make it to the headlines. Today, we're talking about something that affects millions of people across the world, yet most of us know very little about it. It's neglected tropical diseases, or also known as NTDs. Specifically, we are going to be focusing on NTDs that affect the skin, such as leprosy or Buruli ulcer. These diseases that don't just cause physical suffering, they also isolate people from their communities. They are deeply tied to stigma, disability, and poverty, and too often people live with them and are forgotten. But in today's episode, we are bringing to the forefront those voices that are here to advocate for them. Join us as we listen to Kofi Nyarko. Welcome. A powerful advocate for rights for people who are affected by NTDs in Ghana. And we're going to talk with him because Kofi knows from his reality firsthand, and he has experienced the long shadow of leprosy as a child. So today he leads Idea Ghana, a very powerful organization that is working to break that silence and to challenge the stigma in Ghana. Welcome, Kofi.
Thank you very much.
So, by my right hand, we have Soraya Aybar. She is a very powerful journalist and researcher who met Kofi while working also in Ghana, and who has been exploring the media invisibility of these diseases, both in Africa and in the diaspora. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, together we are going to explore how stigma works. We're going to talk about why these diseases remain so invisible, and what it means to tell these stories from the perspective of people who have been suffering it. So, it's a pleasure having you here. For us, it's a very powerful message, what we're going to talk about. So we're going to start with some questions to Kofi, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So Kofi, you, as I said before, you experienced leprosy. How was it? How was the story of experiencing leprosy? How did the stigma also affect you? And community-wise, how did you feel about it?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about these NTDs. My name is Kofi Nyarko. Kofi means someone who is born on Friday. Normally in Ghana, when you were born, they name you the day you were born, as well as the family name. So Kofi is the day that I was born, and then the family name is Nyarko. NTDs, when it comes to NTDs, especially leprosy, then sometimes I become worried because it's very, very disturbing. It started when I was very young. I lost my parents when I was very young. A few years later, I had leprosy. And the way it started, it means I had it when I was very, very young. I was diagnosed when I was 13 years. And after my mother died, I was given to my aunt. And it wasn't easy. There that the disability started. It means the virus had been in my body for some time.
Yeah.
So lucky enough, a man came to my village. The sign started, the disability started, but nobody knows the symptoms of the diseases. So it was the time someone took me to Ankafo General Hospital. There I was diagnosed that it was Hansen diseases, also called leprosy. Yeah, that was 1984. My first time to be in the leprosy hospital, that day was my first time to see someone without fingers, to see someone both legs amputated. I became disturbed. I became worried. So I was asking myself, am I also going to lose all the legs and then the fingers? That was my first question. And lucky enough, a man came there at the hospital called Brother Vincent. He was a missionarist. When he saw me at the OPD, he came very close to me, and then he was asking a lot of questions about the doctor in charge. And he said, no, I have to go to childcare instead for me to stay in the hospital. So they made the arrangement. So in the evening, they took me to a place called Ahutokrom, childcare. Sometimes ago, they were calling it orphanage, but I was not feeling comfortable. So through me, they changed the name to childcare.
Okay.
To become
That's
more
like a native name.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Amazing. And how did stigma affect your life growing up?
In Africa, when you have the NTD, sometimes it's not the problem. But when the disability starts, many people thought when you get leprosy, the leprosy is the disabilities, losing your fingers, losing your toes, which is wrong. When you get the NTDs, especially leprosy, the very important thing is the early diagnosis. We have so many people who were diagnosed early. If I don't tell you that this MP or this assemblyman or this headmaster or this lecturer had leprosy, you won't believe it. So when you stay in the house to the time that disability takes place, you'll be cured. But the disabilities cannot be repaired until you die. That is the most painful thing about it. And when you have the disabilities, sometimes, even in my secondary school education, I had a lot of challenges because some of the classmates were teasing me. And it was very painful. Sometimes you have to isolate yourself. Sometimes, I remember one time, one of the geography masters refused to mark my papers.
Really?
Yes. And lucky enough, 2001, I had opportunity to go to England, and I was trying to apply for a passport. And then I went to the ministries of the immigration. And then all of a sudden, I saw this geography master, and he shouted, Kofi, what are you doing here? And I said, sir, I'm here for my passport. He said, passport for what? You passport? I said, yes, I'm here for a passport. To go where? And I said, I have a scholarship to go to England. And this man was totally shocked. But unfortunately, the day that I had my passport, he was not in the office because I wanted to show him my passport. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So despite these challenges, you're saying as you said, you pursued your education.
Yeah.
How did that education also shape your perspective about NTDs?
In fact, first of all, I will give a big thanks to Roman Catholic Church. This organization were the one, especially the Reverend Sisters, Reverend Sister Sheila, Reverend Sister Monica, Reverend Sister Pat, Reverend Sister Jennifer, and then the priest, Brother Vincent, Father Jazz, Father Dominic. They took me as their son. They clothed me. Whatever I need, they give me. It came to a point that I told them, no, the way they pamper me, I want to stay on my own and face the outside world. So I moved from Chake to Ankafu village to stay on my own. There, they were renting a room for me. And then I started continue my secondary school education. So when I completed it to 1993, then I had a scholarship to go to England. Okay. So in England, the course I did was to become a teacher for children with Down syndrome and then autistic. And then my school is the first school for this special education, the first school in Ghana, and it's still there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So is that what inspired you to create Idea Ghana? Can you tell us something about
For
it?
Idea Ghana, I was doing the work, but I don't know that it was the work of Idea Ghana.
You would just
Yes, I
going and
had a
going.
bicycle.
Okay.
Because of the discrimination and then the stigma. I was not in the boarding school.
Okay.
I was a day. I go to the school with my bicycle, and then in the evening, 5:30, I come back home to my house in Ankafo village. So when I come, then I go to some of these colonies, helping the old people, talking to them if they need water. African life, I fetch
Yes.
water for them. If they want me to buy food for them, I do it for them. I sweep their rooms. I made their beds. So I was the youngest among them. So most of the time I said, no, what am I going to do to help these old people? Because there were many. Some of them are men, some of them are women, some of them are old, some of them are had amputation. Sometimes they need help. So most of the time I go to them and I was asking them where they come from, their life history, how they had the leprosy, and so on and so forth. So it was 2003 that a woman from US visited my school. She is called Pamela Palapiano. And then in my office, we were chatting, we were talking, and he mentioned that what work after school I do. And then I mentioned the work that he said, no, this is the work Idea International is doing. So I would like you to join Idea International so that you can do more. That very day evening, I took her in some of the colonies and then we visited. And then we started Idea with 2 women and then 3 men. So that is how Idea Ghana was started. But before that, I was doing the work already.
Of course, you were
Yeah.
shaping Idea
Yeah.
Ghana without knowing it was
Yes.
going to be Idea
Yeah,
Ghana.
yeah.
That's so impactful. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing with us. So going to this part of the table, we're going to talk from the perspective of journalism, narratives, which is the work you do mainly, Soraya. Can you tell us about why NTDs, particularly the skin-related ones, are receiving so little attention in the mainstream media? Why is that being like that right now?
Okay, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be back again with Kofi in a different space,
Yeah.
but a good space also
Yeah.
to speak about NTDs. I think the main problem is in how we understand Africa. Because if an NTD was extended in Europe or in Spain, for example, probably media or mainstream media will speak about it all the day, on the daily basis, every time,
For real.
in television, in digital media, in radio. However, as we are speaking about the global south, African countries, which we don't know anything about them, although we are the first European country or the only one which has the physical border with an African country through Morocco, we don't care about it. That's the main problem about the narratives and how we understand Africa is at the basis, because sometimes we think Africa is a whole country as itself, not a continent with 50 countries, 54, 55 countries, depending on who you speak with. And I think that's the main issue, and that's why we don't speak about NTDs in mainstream media. I'm trying from my side, even from Africa Mundi or other mainstream medias as Spanish medias, to tackle this problem and speak out and sharing stories as Kofi stories, but also traveling to those countries, speaking out with the communities, what they are doing, the great job they are doing, so people can understand also that Africa is not only a huge continent, like safari-wise, where only animals are around there and there are no cities or no development. No, sorry. There's huge development. There are great people who are doing fantastic scientific discoveries. NTDs as itself is also being tackled by African organizations.
Yes.
So we must speak about this. It's a huge and a long journey trying to speak out and putting Africa in the place it must be. But I think we're going in that way sometimes. I feel like I'm trying to be optimistic around that.
We
but
have
hopefully,
to, because if not, it's just impossible to keep the work going on.
I think it's changing the narrative. This is what I'm feeling in the last 3-4 years. Narratives are changing about what we understand about African countries, and also NTD being part of this change of narratives.
Amazing. So you spoke earlier about the story of Kofi and how that helped also your work as journalist. Can you tell us more about how journalism and storytelling can also shape public awareness and create like more close knowledge about NTDs?
I think the most important in every space when we speak about journalists is going to the places. No?
Yeah.
There's a huge problem now about access to some places, especially in African countries because of different scenarios. But that's the main way to tackle and to be close to those communities. Going there, seeing what you need to see with your own eyes, speaking with people, and then communicating all what have you listened and what have you understand from there to the international media. So that's why when I went with Fundación Anesvad to Ghana, I visited Kofi. I saw what he was doing with Idea Ghana. I really understand like the magnitude and the impact that local communities, local initiatives have to international decisions. I was not able to understand that until I was there because I saw the real impact. So first of all, you need to be there.
Yes.
To understand and to speak and to also, for our side, even me, I've been like for 5 years speaking only about African countries and trying to understand the context of the continent. But even me, I have still some stigma in my brain, no? Because we were born like this. I was born in Spain. My narratives are Western narratives, so I'm still deconstructing my way of speaking about Africa, and I'm only able to still deconstructing that traveling there and speaking with the people. So I think that's the main solution.
Okay, and you spoke something about the Anesvad Foundation.
Okay.
So can you tell us something about how the Fundación Anesvad and also Idea Ghana have contributed to raising more awareness?
I think its main point is that Fundación Anesvad is reaching local communities and local organizations. I think this is the best way to approach these issues or to sensibilize about NTDs in this case. So that approximation from the international, national to local scenarios is perfect. Like that's what they are doing. They're collaborating even not only with Idea Ghana, but with many more NGOs which are working with local communities. And that's what I think it's most important, really.
Yeah, thank you. So going back to Kofi, I know you mentioned something earlier, but I want us to tell people and to tell us what are some of the biggest achievements of Idea Ghana right now in Ghana.
Thank you very much. The most important achievement for Idea Ghana is that some of the people who has been segregated in the leprosy colony for many years are able to reunite them into the society. Idea Ghana is able to do more inclusion because when you get the NTD and they isolate you, that one can even kill you. So for us to get our dignity that the NTDs took away from us back is a good step. It's a major step for Idea Ghana. And a person like me, some years ago, you cannot even get a woman to marry. But I'm able to marry, having 5 children, very beautiful one, very beautiful wife. So it's a big achievement for us. And for now, we are able to collaborate with Ghana Health Service so that any program they do, they invite us. And then we also, as Idea Ghana, we go out to do awareness. And then after the awareness, we do screening. So any suspected case, we just hand over to Minister of Health of Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think, society-wise, do you think the awareness is evolving more and more?
Yes.
Society-wise?
Yes.
Yes.
When you come to Ghana, the chiefs are very powerful.
Yeah.
The politicians cannot influence the chiefs.
The chiefs.
So we go to these chiefs, as my sister can tell. We go to them, and they are playing a major role. And some of these people who were in the colony, when they went back, some of them are from the royal family. Some of them are the oldest person in their community. And now most of them are decision-making in the community with the chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you both, do you believe this stigma we're talking about, society-wise, can be eradicated?
Yes.
Oh, you're very sure.
Yes,
I like it.
for us,
Energy.
for us in Ghana,
Okay.
there are no laws for people affected by NTDs like leprosy to be isolated. As I'm talking now, the former Vice President, Mahmoud Bawumia, is the patron for people affected by NTDs. When it is his birthday, he makes sure that all the people affected or people who has been experiencing leprosy go to his house and have dinner with him. So this is a major step for people affected by NTDs. And he will just brace them, welcome them, dance with them to show the nation that what has happened to people can happen to anybody. And then the disease is curable. Only the deformities cannot be repaired. Yes.
Okay. So I saw a little bit of doubt there. So if you want to tell us, if it's not like a solid yes, can you tell us maybe how or what do we need in order for that to happen, for the eradication of the stigma?
I think it's a solid yes, actually.
It's a solid yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Kofi is a master on trying to convince everyone that is a solid yes.
Yes.
And I think it's that way
The reason
we're
why
speaking
I
out.
was saying that sometimes ago, when we were talking about the inclusion and then integrate people into the society, many people said this is impossible. But when we started with one by one, and then the colonies started becoming empty, then people got to know that no, this man thinks that is impossible, he is trying to turn it to possible.
The work is slow, but we are getting there, right?
Yes.
Gradually,
I think so.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking something Kofi mentioned about the chief, the
Yes.
importance of the chiefs.
Yes.
That's part of the narratives,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Normally in Spain or Western countries, you will never imagine the importance a chief has on the communities and the influence they emanate.
Yeah.
No? That's part of knowing the context.
Yeah.
And I think it's crucial that we speak out with people like Kofi to understand where do we need to focalize when we want to eradicate an entity or influence the community.
Yes.
Chiefs.
Yeah, chiefs.
Like really, in
Yeah,
the
the
political
culture-
scenario,
Yeah.
is the chief.
Yeah,
In
the
Spain,
cultural
no.
Yeah.
approach is
Yeah.
very important
Yeah.
there.
And whatever the chiefs will say is final. Yeah. In
It's
their
final,
community.
like
It's final.
that. Okay,
in their
yes.
communities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the cultural approach is
Yeah.
very important.
Yes.
It's very important.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, I would like you to maybe say a message to people who are listening to us, listeners, or whoever you think can also be influenced by what you are saying. What would you say to them about stigma and their impact, and what tools can we use to eradicate them?
Okay. The most important part is this area. Stigma can kill you. Discrimination can kill you. I remember when COVID came and people were isolated. I said, my goodness, not the COVID that will kill them, but the isolation can kill you. Taking you away from the community, from your family, is a blow.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to the whole world is that what has happened to us can happen to anybody. When we are thinking on the NTDs, we have to think twice, because NTDs are disturbing human beings, especially leprosy, borreliosis, elephantiasis, and so on and so forth. Sometimes people, because of the prescription, people do self-stigma. When you see that, we go to them that no, your problem, someone is having even a bigger problem than yours. So I'm appealing to the whole world. When you are there, even if you cannot examine yourself, let your friend do for you. Because leprosy can hide at your back. It can hide anywhere, and you will never know. So any rashes, any suspected thing that you will see on your skin, go to hospital or clinic for proper diagnosis straight away, so that you will not face the disabilities that we had some years ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Soraya, do you want to add something to that?
I think like in my paper in this, like communication-wise, we must speak out about discrimination around stigmatized people, around NTDs, but also we need to speak in positive, right? I'm fed up of reading papers and articles in negative, always speaking about in negative when we speak about Africa.
Sure.
So we need to take these examples, take these initiatives to speak out in positive, like, okay, we can make a change.
Yeah.
We have these people that are working so hard and they're reaching out to so public spaces, political spaces. We must, as a journalist in my way, I feel we must do that. We must speak about that, not about the negative parts of NTDs. Of course, we must still speak about the negative part, but at the same time, compensating and trying to tackle up the positive ways of approaching NTDs and stigma.
Yeah, as you said before, we have to be really optimistic with this.
Sure.
I think almost with every fight, we're fighting like society and, movements, because we really need to envision ourselves in a better future in order to keep the strength to work on. So thank you very much for your time, for your contributions.
Thank you so much.
If you feel like you want to add anything, you want to say
just keep
something?
going, Kofi.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
We love the
what I will
work.
add is that we should not lose hope.
Yes.
Sometimes people will say we cannot get to the zero leprosy, but it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's
It's very
possible.
possible.
Yeah.
It has been possible
Yeah.
in other many societies. It's also possible in Ghana, as in other countries in Africa.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.